Today we commemorate the Day of Remembrance for those who died in military missions and operations abroad. The Day of Remembrance was established in 2015 and falls on December 21st, the date of the most tragic event in the history of the Polish Army's participation in foreign missions. On that day, in 2011, 5 Polish soldiers were killed in Afghanistan. Each name of a soldier who died on a mission is a story of sacrifice, courage, but also tragedy for their loved ones. May this expression of our memory in the form of light, torches, and lit candles be an expression of our shared memory, the memory of the military family. We will never forget them, declare the soldiers who yesterday and today honored the memory of those who never returned home in front of the monument to the fallen in foreign missions. We must remember the soldiers who died on missions because they gave their lives for peace and freedom. They paid the ultimate sacrifice, the sacrifice of their lives. December 21st, 2011, 5 of our soldiers were killed in a Taliban attack in the Afghan province of Ghazni. They had no chance. A powerful explosive device detonated under their vehicle. For 10 years on this day, we have been remembering those who fought for Poland while serving thousands of kilometers from its borders. Today we can live in peace, raise our children in peace, go to work and think about the future, thanks to every drop of their blood that was shed. Foreign missions also involve building relationships with our allies, with whom our soldiers fought and sometimes died. A special sign of unity is the families of our American allies, with whom Polish soldiers served outside their homeland. We are united by brotherhood in arms, a shared experience, and the same painful memory of loss. For over 70 years, soldiers with the white and red flag on their shoulders have been serving on foreign missions. A total of 115,000 of our uniformed personnel have taken part in missions. As many as 120 soldiers paid the highest price, and over 800 were wounded. Currently, Polish uniformed personnel are stationed in Iraq, Kosovo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Lebanon, the coast of Libya, Turkey, the Central African Republic, and as part of the strengthening of NATO's eastern flank in the Baltic Sea, in Romania and Latvia. And it was the latter, the tank crews at the Adaji base near Riga, who were visited at the beginning of the month by the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Polish President Karol Nawrocki. All of you, more than 300 soldiers, are ambassadors of Poland and Polishness in the lands where you serve. The experience gained on missions is invaluable for the development of our army. This knowledge and these skills are increasingly useful in the direct defense of Poland's borders. Freedom is not given to us once and for all. The current situation beyond our eastern border is a stark reminder of how fragile stability and peace can be. That is why the participants of the ceremony at the monument to those who died on foreign missions also commemorated those soldiers who protect our eastern border at the risk of their lives and health. There is no electricity, gas, or coal. The Russians destroyed the last heating plant a few weeks ago in the largest air raid on Odessa this year. But farmers came to the aid of the local community. Makeshift boiler rooms are now fueled by straw. It is taken from the fields to furnaces that heat schools, hospitals, and government offices. At first, we approached this type of fuel with, let's say, some skepticism, because it's straw. How can you heat such a large building with straw? Our school, for example, is 3,500 square meters. How can you heat such a large space with straw? But after installation, we realized that it is a very economical type of fuel, a very economical fuel that comes from our own fields. Similar solutions are used today throughout Ukraine. The Russians' goal was to cut off the country from energy and heat. Ukrainians are not giving up, and not only here. Another round of talks between American and Russian envoys is underway in Miami. A modified peace plan prepared in consultation with Kiev is being discussed. Initial reactions after Saturday's meeting did not give much hope for a breakthrough. The talks are constructive. They began and continue today, and will continue tomorrow. Thank you very much. Unofficially, however, the Russians do not accept the changes made in the course of the talks between the Americans, Ukrainians, and European leaders. This may mean that the whole project will come to nothing.
There can't be a peace deal unless Ukraine agrees to it. And there can't be a peace deal, of course, unless Russia agrees to it. But remember that. Any peace deal is one that Ukraine has to agree to, because they're a combatant. If Ukraine says we don't agree to it, there won't be peace. So our job is not to force anything on anyone. It is to try to figure out if we can nudge both sides to a common place. And guys, you know, in a conflict like this, in a war like this, that's not easy. It takes a lot of time.
Kiev is well aware of the importance of Washington's actions. The Americans are currently the only ones who have persuaded the Russians to engage in any talks. They are also the only ones who have the means to put pressure on the Kremlin, both economically and militarily. We must fight for the United States of America. We must fight for a format in which we stand shoulder to shoulder with all our allies, with the United States playing the role of both mediator and partner, alongside our European allies who support us. I believe this is a strong alliance, and we must fight to maintain it. If this fails, of course, everyone will consider other options and a different format, but we must still fight for it. This other format would be direct talks between Putin and the leader of a European country. We are talking about the French president. Emmanuel Macron has already declared that he is ready to establish contact. Analysts recall that it was the French president who desperately tried to save peace 4 years ago, just before the Russian invasion, which ended in a humiliating visit to the Kremlin and a display of the impotence of European diplomacy. Silence, tears, and prayer. Sydney residents commemorated the victims of the terrorist attack on Bondi Beach. A week ago, a family of Islamists, a father and son, shot at Jews celebrating Hanukkah. They killed 16 people and wounded 38, including this teenager.
We're obviously mourning, but we're getting stronger as a nation, and we're growing, and sometimes growing hurts, but we're growing, and life is going to move on, and why not make the best of it?
Australia remembers the innocent people who lost their lives because of the hatred of Islamic immigrants. Today, Bondi Beach, considered safe just a week ago, is under constant police surveillance.
We are done running. We are done hiding.
Several thousand kilometers away, in Magdeburg, Germany, the families of the victims of an Islamic terrorist are experiencing the same pain of losing their loved ones. A year ago, a doctor from Saudi Arabia drove a speeding car into people visiting a Christmas market. He killed 6 and injured nearly 350 people. Earlier, there were attacks on Christmas markets in Berlin, where a Polish truck driver was killed, or in Strasbourg. Attacks on Christmas markets and holiday markets have unfortunately become almost a plague in Western Europe. This is related to the growing number of followers of the Muslim religion, in particular in these countries, and the fact that the influx of new residents, migrants, who are arriving in Western European countries is very large, especially what we have seen in recent years. And with the influx of illegal migrants, the threat is growing, especially now in the pre-Christmas period. Christmas markets still survive in an increasingly secularized and Islamized Western Europe, but the presence of police and security measures, such as concrete barriers to protect against terrorist attacks, has become a tradition. Mass migration, uncontrolled, massive, and in many cases illegal above all. For some time now, Islamic terrorist attacks have become an integral part of the functioning of Western countries. Some factions have become radicalized. The level of security in Western Europe is very low. In Western European countries, a series of violent crimes occur every day. In Austria, 2 Lebanese men stabbed a 16-year-old boy who stood up for teenage girls. At a migrant center in Karlsruhe, Germany, Nigerians attacked police officers, demanding better social conditions. In Ajaccio, France, a knife-wielding man from Africa threatened passerby. This time he was shot dead by the police in time. And these are just examples from the last 24 hours. Mass immigration, both legal and illegal, causes a systematic deterioration in the level of security in society. French and German police data, published annually, show a growing proportion of foreigners and citizens of Islamic origin in all categories of crimes and offenses. This is particularly evident in large cities such as Paris and Berlin, where, for example, women can no longer move freely in public spaces. Residents of France, Belgium, Germany, and Spain feel particularly intimidated during the pre-Christmas period. Many cities in Western Europe are giving up putting up Christmas trees or nativity scenes so as not to provoke aggressive Islamists. The U.S. military has detained a tanker that recently left Venezuela. Earlier, U.S. President Donald Trump ordered a blockade of all sanctioned ships entering and leaving Venezuelan ports. The regime in Caracas described the action as a modern form of piracy. This is the second time in less than 2 weeks that U.S. forces have seized a Venezuelan tanker. U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem confirmed on the X portal that the U.S. Coast Guard, with the support of the Department of War, had detained a tanker that had recently docked in Venezuela. Noem shared a video of the operation under her post. The Venezuelan government calls it an act of piracy and a manifestation of U.S. neocolonial policy, and announces that it will file a complaint with the UN and other international organizations. The Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela categorically condemns the hijacking of another private vessel carrying Venezuelan oil. This act of piracy constitutes a flagrant violation of Article 3 of the 1988 Convention for the Suppression of Unlawful Acts Against the Safety of Maritime Navigation, as well as a flagrant violation of Article 2 of the United Nations Charter and Article 2 of the Geneva Convention on International Transport. The Trump administration has sent thousands of troops to the Caribbean, as well as an aircraft carrier, warships, and fighter jets. Over the past month, the U.S. Navy has carried out several attacks on ships suspected of transporting drugs in the region. The U.S. has imposed sanctions on all tankers leaving and entering Venezuela. President Trump has repeatedly said that he does not rule out a ground invasion of Venezuela. The aim of the intervention would be to combat drug trafficking and human trafficking. I don't rule it out, no, I don't discuss it. It depends. If they're foolish enough to be sailing along, they'll be sailing along back into one of our harbors. Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro knows exactly what I want. He knows better than anybody. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his government consistently deny any links to organized crime and claim that the United States is seeking to remove him from power in order to take control of Venezuela's vast oil reserves. Next Tuesday, the UN Security Council will hold an emergency meeting on the tense situation surrounding Venezuela.